Wednesday is one of those days in the NBA we love so much. 12 games. So much stuff that we can't concentrate on what's going on, but we'll take a look at what those games are. Maybe we can stream in. Who knows? Let's take a look at the options, the values, who's in and who's out on Wednesday in the NBA. 12 games. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and if you don't have a magnet, you don't make a podcast. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. To use across the app, head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. We're also the number one sports podcast network. And that's thanks to you guys double banging, thumbing, subscribing, commenting, and watching this show, amongst others. And now, we are on the mission to 100K. 100K YouTube subs. So, let's hit the button. I hope we get there. All right, we're talking about Wednesday's games. I hate days like this. I hate them. I know there's lots of basketball on, but you can't actually pay attention to stuff that's happening. 12 games is just too many. It's not necessary, and the NBA continues to make mistakes, but that's okay. We give them a pass, sort of. Let's take a look at the schedule. Let's take a look at these insane 12 games that are on. I don't know, and I'm sure we will. I know we'll have a 15-game day at the end of the year, but I hope we don't have any other. I hope 12 is the highest we get in season. I don't want any 13s or any other 15s. They're just nonsense days. Magic Knicks is the first game. Bulls Pistons, Bucks Hornets, Grizzlies Celtics. That's somewhat interesting. Cavs Heat became a lot less interesting because Cleveland is just resting everybody. And we just saw these two teams play yesterday in a real classic. Blazers Pelicans. Wizards. I guess the good thing about 12 games, when the Cavs rest everybody, we can just ignore that game. Doesn't matter. It just sort of fades off into the distance. Wizards Rockets, Warriors Spurs, Suns Mavericks without Nico. It's at home. Does the vibes in that place change? Probably. Lakers, Thunder, Hawks, Kings, and lastly, Nuggets at Clippers. Another Westbrook. Oh no, it's the two Westbrook teams against us. It's the Westbrook Revenge. I can't even remember who he plays for anymore. Not those teams. It's the idiots that he plays for. Let's look at these games in a bit more detail. We have had some more injury news filtered through. Someone asked, "Are you going to do that show, Josh, where you go through all 30 teams and do injuries?" And I'm not doing it this season for a couple of reasons. That show takes a lot of resources to prepare. It takes a long time to do. And when you do it, the information is fuzzy at best in terms of trying to provide return dates, but also you do it and then 20 minutes later, an hour later, it's all different because injury reports come out literally every hour in the NBA. So it is a big investment for a show that in the end, some of the information is just completely useless anyway. So that's why I'm not doing that. Rather just talk about the injuries as they're happening and when discussions pop up. So, Magic Knicks. Jalen Suggs will play in this game. Mitchell Robinson will play as well. Now, Mitchie is out on Tuesday. He is sitting on that back-to-back on Tuesday. So, we know that he's available Wednesday, which is actually not great because on Wednesday we're probably going to have more decisions to make in terms of starting and sitting. And Suggs sat out the last game, but he will be returning. The next game after that one is the Bulls and the Pistons. The Pistons are still without everybody. Jaden Ivey's out. Isaiah Stewart is out. Ausar Thompson is out. Karis LeVert will play. And we don't have an update yet on Josh. We have some update on Giddey. He is questionable. But they've also listed Cade and Jalen Duren as probable, while Isaiah Stewart is doubtful. But we're in that same spot like yesterday where you got no Harris, you've got no Stewart, you've got no Ausar. And I guess there's a small risk of Cade and Duren as well. And there's a risk of Giddey being out on the Bulls side of it. So that could be a game where big numbers occur that don't mean anything for the long term. The next one is Milwaukee and Charlotte. LaMelo Ball remains out. Yuck. Yanni has popped up as questionable. We keep an eye on that. Colin Sexton is probable. KJ Simpson and Pat Connaughton are probable. The Sexton one, it's just good to know that he's only probable. And the Giannis one's going to be the big feature. We're already getting 30 minutes a night of Kuzma at the moment. And he actually would be, maybe you would use him if Giannis is out, but all of his problems still exist in terms of percentages, fashion choice, and lack of defensive stats. That all remains. After Bucks Hornets, we go Memphis and Boston. We're pretty clean here injury-wise. Zach Edey is still out, but his return is coming pretty soon. We just don't know exactly when. The next game, we're going to Cleveland and Miami. Like I said, just a lot of guys that aren't available in this one. The Cavs have sat out Darius Garland. They're calling it toe injury management. Like, bro, we saw him hurt his toe yesterday, so I'd like more of an update on that. But Donovan Mitchell is resting. Evan Mobley is resting. And in bad news, Jalen Tyson has entered the concussion protocol. So that means he's not missing one game. So we were like, let's go at him. Garland looks like he might be out here. It is actually possible that Garland misses Wednesday and comes back before Tyson. I would still hold on to Tyson, but a concussion diagnosis is a week-ish. It might be longer. But that's like not ideal in that one. For the Heat, Bam is out, but there was a bunch of other guys like Jaquez, Mitchell, Drew Smith, Superman Callaway. They're all ruled in and playing. It is the first of back-to-back for Cleveland, and this is important later for streams. Lonzo Ball's playing. So I put him questionable because I didn't know if he was going to play in which game, but with everyone sitting, he will play on Wednesday, meaning he will sit on Thursday. The next game after that one, we've got Portland and the Pelicans. We just know that Poole is out, Zion is out, and Scoot is out, so no real changes there. I guess the thing to watch on that one is, do they actually play Yves Missi? Because he was available last game and didn't play. Is he actually out of the rotation? That would seem crazy. Will they play Derek Queen, the Blizzard, 15 straight minutes again to end the game? Don't know. Wizards Rockets, Bilal Coulibaly has been ruled out, so we know that he is out now. So it's good to at least get that confirmation. The next game, the 8th game of the day, is the Warriors and the Spurs. This is, I believe, a back-to-back coming in for Golden State. Steph returned. Horford is sitting on Tuesday. I don't know if he'll be in on this one on Wednesday. And Devin Vassell is actually off the injury report. He left the last game due to a migraine, but he is not listed, so he is good to go. Warriors, Spurs was that one. Now we're doing Suns and Mavericks. Anthony Davis and Derek Lively. I've got them questionable. I don't know that for sure. That is not official. I would expect Davis is questionable and close to playing. Lively, I'd say, is more probably on the doubtful side. Whereas I'm labeling Mark Williams as questionable because it is the first of a back-to-back and he will not play both games. I think he plays Wednesday. And we've actually seen Nick Richards move ahead of Osa Ighodaro in the battle of who can be the worst backup center. Richards has moved ahead of Ighodaro in that spot last game. So maybe if Williams is out, maybe BDNR starts and maybe definitely we ignore him. The next game is the Lakers and the Thunder. LeBron is out. Gabe Vincent is out. And on the Thunder side, Aaron Wiggins is out. Jalen Williams is out. Lou Dort is out. But both Chet and Alex Caruso are available to play. And by available to play, I mean they're playing on Tuesday. So I probably, actually, that's labeled incorrectly. I think that Caruso is probably out on Wednesday. And Chet, I don't know. Right? The Wiggins one, who knows? He's been out a few games here. I would expect that he is out, but their injury report continues to be a complete mess game by game. It's very hard to judge that on a daily basis, honestly. The next side of this is, or the next game, sorry, we're talking about is the Atlanta Hawks and the Sacramento Kings. Domantas Sabonis is, they've got a back-to-back as well, but he's been ruled in for Tuesday, so we hope that he's available. Devin Carter was out on Tuesday for illness, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the Hawks is questionable. And the final game of the day, the 12th game of the day, is the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers. Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray are both probable, but that is for the Tuesday of the first game of a back-to-back. Now, they sat out their last game, which was a back-to-back. Will they do it again on Wednesday? I don't think so, but we saw Peyton Watson really step up in that role. It would be a decision, I guess, to stream him, but that would be the beneficiary there if those guys sat. But we don't know if that's their plan. I'm also expecting the Kawhi Leonard and Bradley Beal both remain out for the LA Clippers. We'll come back and talk more schedule stuff in a sec. Today's episode, it is brought to you, though, by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And even if you miss the start of an NBA game, one of the 12 games, on Wednesday, in fact, or you want to jump in and see what the hot hand is, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. And you can even combine those live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It enables you to put your knowledge, your eye test to the test in-game and see if you get it right. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Today's episode is also brought to you by Built. You pay for rent, right? You don't like it, but you do. You pay for rent. But if you're going to have to do something, you might as well get something back for it. And that is where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payments into real rewards that you can actually use. And when you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, future rent payments, lift rides, and more. But it's not just about rent with Built. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. You can get points every month on that rent. Like, you're already spending it, you got your place to live, clearly, but just get a little bit of something extra on top of it. So you can turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That is joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. And make sure to use that link so that they know that we sent you. We're talking a preview here for Wednesday's 12 games across the NBA. So let's take a look at some of the schedule plays that we might be looking at. How can we maximize our games? How can we take advantage of the rest of this week? And the short answer is it's not that easy. And I'll explain why that is. Let's go through just who's got back-to-backs. There are 7 teams. 7 teams coming from Tuesday into Wednesday. Boston, Denver, Golden State, so Horford out Tuesday, probably playing Wednesday. Memphis, not sure there's a worry, but watch on Morant. Knicks, Mitchell Robinson out Tuesday, playing Wednesday. The Thunder, Chet and Caruso in Tuesday, maybe out Wednesday. And the Kings, not too worried there. But then we have 3 teams that move on from Wednesday to Thursday. So out of the 12 teams, out of the 24 teams, out of the 12 games that are on, 10 teams are in a part of a back-to-back. Terrible scheduling. It's the Hawks. So Porzingis is missing one of these games. I don't think there's a risk on Wednesday, but he's missing one. Watch Jalen Johnson as well with his leg. The Cavs, who are already sitting all of their guys on the front end of that back-to-back, but then Lonzo will sit on Thursday. And then there's the Suns, who I don't think were at really any risk except for Mark Williams, who is sitting one of those 2 games. So when I say we talk about, like, how do we take advantage of this schedule, like with those back-to-backs, including a 12-gamer, it's really tough to do. We want to look at chunks. We look at the next 5 days. How can we maximize our time? And the problem here is that between Wednesday and Sunday, there are no teams that play 3 low-volume days. The most you can get, again, we're not really including Wednesday. Now, you might have the ability to stream, and good for you, right? So you know those teams on Wednesday. But then all of these other teams, they play twice over the final 4 days. So Reed Sheppard, Aaron Nesmith, Brandon Williams, and I think that Sheppard and Williams are just must-roster players at this point. Bob Portis, especially with a little bit of doubt over Yanni. And then Marcus Smart, who probably should be on rosters at this point too. But they are under-rostered. They are over 70% available on Yahoo. And they've got 2 games between Thursday and Sunday. We're not including Wednesday because of the difficulties or the unlikelihood that majority of you are going to be able to stream on a day like that. If we look at 5s and 2s, so over each 7-day period, is there weaknesses in team schedules? Yesterday, we did the 5s and 2s, and we said that between Tuesday and Monday next week, the Wizards play 2 games. Well, between Wednesday and Tuesday next week, the Wizards also play 2 games. So, that's not great. And then the 6ers also join in. Now, they've got a 2-game week in week 4, but also that extends through to next Tuesday. 2 games in the next 7 days for both of those teams. So, that's bad news for Trendon Watford. It's bad news for holding Jared McCain. It's bad news for Chris Middleton. It's bad news for Cam Whitmore. If you're trying streams of these guys, they're just not playing. There's no value in them. They're just not out on the court that much. Not great. So that's how we look at schedules. We should now probably go and look at the streams of the day. Different categories, size leagues, different categories or points. And given the news of all of the Cavs, no Mobley, no Garland, no Mitchell, no Tyson, that is 4 starters, all out, Lonzo Ball's got to be up the top. Now, Lonzo started a game about a week ago, and played 26 minutes. So we knew about his 20-minute or so minute limit, but he played 26 in a start. So 26 again. You can look at the guys behind him, Tyrese Proctor and Craig Porter, but Lonzo in 26, 27, pretty useful. Kris Dunn is getting a ton of minutes because Bradley Beal is out, Kawhi Leonard is out. So he's probably going to get 30-plus minutes. That's a good 12-team stream. 14-team, guess what? The same players are out. Kawhi's out, Beal's out. So Derek Jones, for 14-teamers, he's available in a lot of leagues. I think 90% of leagues on Yahoo. Let's have a look. And Javonte Green, who for Detroit we don't have Isaiah Stewart, we don't have Toby Harris, we don't have Ausar Thompson, so it'll be rugged Ronnie Holland, and it will be Javonte Green starting, I'm guessing. So deep leagues, we go to Javonte. For Yahoo points, I like Jeremiah Fears as a stream. He is still only 18% rostered, even though he can be pretty frustrating at times, but they're still without Poole and still without Zion. And then for ESPN points, let's just go all the way back there to Lonzo Ball, who should see a significant spike in usage, in assist rates, and in minutes. And all those things will let's maybe say should, lead to significantly improved production from Lonzo Ball. And we would love to see significantly improved production from Lonzo Ball. We'll come back and dig more into the streaming list. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still paying for or overpaying for wireless, it is time. I hope you're paying in general. If you're still overpaying for wireless, though, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. You can say yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. And the setup is super easy. You keep your number and then you're just up and running within minutes. So get ready to say yes to saying no. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That is mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, so we are here talking about the 12 games on Wednesday. We're talking streaming, and we've just given the streams of the day. So let's just dig into a few more lists of players that we can stream through. We'll start with the guys that should be available for the majority of 130 deep player leagues, 10-team leagues. Lonzo Ball, Sam Merrill, pretty obvious ones because Cleveland they're gonna start. They're gonna have to do a lot. There's a lot of other options you can maybe go. DeAndre Hunter, if he's available, he's a clear must roster player, right? That's easy. But Ball and Merrill are available. Kris Dunn, Marcus Smart, and Brandon Williams. And like I said, I think Williams we just grab because we want to see what happens. I don't have full faith in Williams being a 30-minute-a-night player, but that chance to be a starting point guard moving forward is a risk you want to take, I think, in most situations. Obviously, your miles may vary depending on who you'd have to drop, but I think it's a risk you take. For 12-teamers, we've got Derek Jones, Javonte Green, Dean Wade in Cleveland, and rugged Ronnie Holland in Detroit. So you'll notice, like, the absences in Detroit, the absences in Cleveland, the absences in LA for the Clippers, it opens up a lot. And when we're streaming, a lot of it is like attacking that. And there's the difference between that and Brandon Williams. So when we're talking the idea of streaming, like getting Lonzo, Merrill, Wade, Proctor, Porter, whoever at Nance maybe who's questionable, he might have minutes, like getting those guys in for Wednesday for one game, it might be great. You might get awesome numbers. Getting Javonte Green or Ron Holland in, or bloody old mate Dennis Jenkins, who was great last game off the bench. That might be really strong for one game. But Brandon Williams, he's not getting the advantage because there's a short-term injury. Yeah, Kyrie is out, and that might be months away. But even though his production might be lower than these guys for tomorrow, sometimes you want to use that spot to go, hey, let's see where this goes. Because we know that Javonte Green will not start long-term. We know that. We know that Sam Merrill and Lonzo Ball have no long-term appeal in this way. And there's that difference in mindset, like, how do I approach it? Like, I'd rather grab Williams, get worse production now, get worse production for a week, and see what happens. Because that might give me 3 months, 2 months of good production. Deeper leagues. A lot of these names, you have similar scenarios. Although Chris Middleton, he's been quite bad, but if you're talking deep leagues, his role is okay. Jose Alvarado's there. You got Craig Porter Jr., who can fill it up, and then Cam Whitmore, who doesn't fill it up but can score. He can fill up one category, and he got huge minutes. And with Bilal out, it does bump him up to get more playing time and more scoring. And then the last one there is, again, if you're looking for big man numbers, we go to Orlando and Goga Badadze, who's getting the backup center minutes for the Magic. The Yahoo Points League stream options. We're going at 30% rostered or below. So Jeremiah Fears, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Williams, Sam Merrill. And then there is Reed Sheppard. Now, the Rockets haven't had a particularly strong schedule, but he is still available. So people haven't jumped on. And yeah, they play on Wednesday. And that's a low volume day. And then they don't really, that's their first game for the week. They've got 2 more for the rest of the week. But much like with Brandon Williams, just grab it, right? Just do it. Even in like a 10 team, even in a points, just grab Reed Sheppard. Grab Brandon Williams, and we see what happens. having the ability to look at this and go, this is not because randomly 3 starters are out. It's because this is the team. And this is the change that seems to be being made. And the value will probably be good enough, if it hits, to make it make sense. Again, I really do hope that those differentiations come across pretty clear. For ESPN points, a lot of similar names, of course. I guess if this ever comes up. Lonzo Ball, Sam Merrill, Jeremiah Fears, Brandon Williams, and Derek Jones Jr. Now, I'm going to guess that Reed doesn't come up because on ESPN, I think he was pre-ranked at like 60. So he's just drafted in most leagues and a lot of dead leagues there, so he's just being held on to. But he is obviously a pretty, well, maybe it's not obvious, but I think he's a pretty good add just to see what happens. And that's a daily look ahead for 12 games on Wednesday. I'll be back later on today, like Arnie, to give you the recap of Tuesday's 6 games across the league. Let's hit 100K before tonight. Won't happen, but let's do it anyway. Guys, we are done here. Steal people's phones. Make sure they're subbing. We are done, guys. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.